Hello, can we start now? Hello, hello. Uh, okay, okay. Just okay, okay. Yeah, Omkar, just yeah. Hello. Hello, Omkar, am I audible?
Yes, Deepak, you're audible and we are live streaming, so you can start. I think it's still 2 minutes to 5, so maybe let's wait for another 2-3 minutes and then we'll start.
Yeah, okay, okay. So my screen is visual, no? I mean,
Yes, it is visible.
okay, okay.
Just move to full screen.
Yeah. Still is had not come. Well, I think it should be here now, full screen.
Just Deepak, start the slideshow. And you can take it from there.
Yeah,
Right upper corner. That's it.
yeah, yeah. It's a loading, I think. Yeah. Is it visible now? Full screen?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes. I mean, just tell me when to start.
Yeah,
We'll
sure.
start. Yeah. Omkar, is there any lag between like what I'm speaking? I think internet connection is not stable here.
No, no, it's fine. Please, it's absolutely fine. But now it's also time, so please start.
Okay, okay, great. Yeah. So welcome you all for the orientation session for computational thinking. In this small presentation, I will talk about the computational thinking. I mean, what you are going to study in computational thinking course. Okay, so before talk about computational thinking, I just want to bring one thing. Like generally, we face some common situation. Generally, we encounter in our daily life. So, like if we want to plan a multi-city trip with our friends, how we go about that planning? So, what do we do? First, we
Deepak, your voice is breaking.
decide the cities, like which city we want to go, and
Deepak, your voice is breaking. Do you have any better connection?
hello. Yeah, actually, I'm in a studio room. Still, I think it is breaking. Okay. What about now? Is it better now?
Can you continue? Deepak, are you there?
Yeah, yeah. I'm
It's still bad. It's still bad. Let's do something about it. It's still bad. Everybody, just please wait for a minute. There is some technical issue where we are fixing it, and we'll be back. Just give us a minute.
Yeah. What about now? It's good.
Yeah, Deepak, now it's better.
Okay,
Now,
okay. Oh,
please start the presentation.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, so can you please make me co-host? Who is the co-host? Can you please make me first co-host so that I can share the screen? CS1001. CS1001. Can you make me co-host, please? Okay, yeah. But still, I can share this. CS1001. Can you make me co-host, please? Hello.
But
Hello.
just hold on, and we call him. We are already live now.
Yes, yes. CS1001. CS1001. Can you please make me co-host? हाँ ओमकार.
Hello,
Yeah, Karthik.
Omkar, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm able to hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll start in a minute. So Deepak is fixing the issue on his side. So we'll fix in a couple of minutes.
Okay, okay. What happened?
Yeah, some network issue or some technical error. I don't know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay. So let us start from beginning also. Okay. So welcome you all again, and for the computational thinking orientation session. So before talk about our computational thinking course, I just want to bring one daily life situation. Generally, so if you plan to multi-city trip with our friends, how we do generally? So generally, what we do is if we first find the city where we want to visit. So we decide city first into, and then we check the what are the constraint or the conditions to visit that particular city, and then we come up with a sequence of steps that minimizes the certain constraint, such as like cost, travel time, whatever type of food we will get there. So what we have done, we have firstly planned our trip, then we break out into the smaller, like if we go to the city, we can have more than one city visit program there. Then we went for the constraint or conditions, and after that, once we got this constraint and condition, we have found the some sequence of steps so that we can reduce the cost on travel time and the type of food available in that particular city. So in a brief, like computational thinking, what we do generally whenever we have any problem, we decompose into the smaller problem. Once we break the smaller problem and we get the solution, that then we try to find the some, if there any order or not, I mean the pattern recognition, if there is a repetition of some process, we try to find that. And once we got that, they will have a algorithm designed for smaller problems, and we arrange in some steps. So this is our computational thinking. And if you see that the computational thinking is used, I think each and every field. If you talk about the music, where you have to use algorithms to study the intervals, rhythm, and the composition of tunes. If you talk about the physics, to create some simulation so that we can replicate the practical example, so that we need not to do the experiments. We have this medial literacy where we analyze the data to feed some information to the social media. So computational thinking is available. You will find a problem, daily life problem, where you can use the computational thinking. So what it talks about the computational thinking problem. So we formulate a problem in a way that enables to use a computer to help them. Like when we are having a problem, we try to write some code or thing so that our computer will understand. Then through algorithmic solution, we have come up with some ordered steps, and then we try to generalize these problems so that that can be used into the another problem. So why we want to learn this computational thinking course? So this is the most basic course to study in our program, where these the whatever the concepts we will study in computational thinking course will be used in Python, data structure algorithms, machine learning course, Java, and application development. So if you bring more attention to the computational thinking, if you concrete your concept, whatever you study in computational thinking, that all will be used in upcoming courses in diploma and degree level courses. So the topics which we are going to study in computational thinking course. So the first 4 weeks we will just study with the basic uh, concepts such as like data types, types of variables, then filtering process, different type of operators, and the most important thing, the pseudo code. Then we will study the multiple iterations, parameters, and in week 4 we will study the nested iteration and binning process. When we go to the week 5 onwards, a little bit complexity will increase, such as we have to study in week 5 list, insertion, sorting, then followed by will study about the dictionary, graphs, matrices, adjacency matrix, and we'll also learn about depth first search and recursion. So these week contents are used in, if we study any concept in week 5, that will be also used in the upcoming weeks, like week 7 or week 8. So that's why we have not categorized here in the particular weeks, but you will read some particular topic in particular weeks. And one important thing is that there is no any prerequisite coding knowledge is required to learn above topics. I mean, if you do not know anything about coding, computational thinking, you can easily learn. It's not required at all. If you are knowing, that's good. But if you are not knowing, don't worry about that. There is no any prerequisite for this learning this course. So the we have the course faculty, means you will watch the lectures, which is mostly done by Madhavan Mukund. He's a professor, a director now in the Chennai Mathematical Institute, and Professor G Venkatesh is a professor in IIT Madras. And we have 3 course instructor, myself and Omkar Joshi and Rahul Gupta. So the learning approach, so to the study any week, how you should start so that you will have you will get good marks in that particular graded assignment. So what you do first, so per week you have 2 to 2.5 hour video lectures. What you do first, you just try to watch the lectures, don't skip any videos. Then as you complete one of the video of that particular week, go for solving the activity questions. If you are able to solve the activity question, you have understood that particular lecture. And if you're finding any difficulty to solve that particular activity question, it will be good that if you watch again and then again come and try to solve the activity questions. So once you complete the activity questions of that particular week, then you go for the practice assignment questions, try to solve. If you are still have doubt, go back to the particular lecture, try to watch again, make some notes, and then again same process, you just go to that particular problem, that practice assignment, and solve. Once you have done these things, go for the graded assignment questions. Then you will feel that graded assignment is very easy. So this is the learning approach you should do for each and every week. Apart from that, we are always supporting you in terms of like we conduct live sessions weekly, 2 sessions in a week, where you can come and ask your doubts. You can interact with us. All of our like course instructor will help you in that to clearing your doubts. If necessary, we also conduct extra sessions on demand. Like if we feel that yeah, some topic is very complex and people students are finding difficulty to understand in that particular topic, we conduct extra live session on demand. If we feel that strength is high, we conduct more than 2 or 3 sessions in that particular week also. And another platform where you can ask your doubts, like discussion forum or discourse. So this is open all time. You can post doubts anytime, and will answer that particular doubts in next I am not saying that we will answer in next 1 minute or 2 minutes, but it will be answered in next 2 to 3 hours, that I'm showing you. So how the assessment will be done? So you need to submit graded assignment for each and every week, and then you will have two quizzes, quiz 1 and quiz 2, and syllabus will be discussed later. And you will have one final term exam which you have to, so then two quizzes and in term examination you have to come at the TCS center and appearing in these two quizzes and in term examination. And there is one reference book which is actually written by Madhavan Mukund and Venkatesh, computational thinking, a primer for programmers and data scientists. Okay, okay, thank you. So now we'll take some questions, whatever you have, we have collected from Google form. So we will try to answer that one. Yeah, yeah. Omkar, yeah, are you?
Yeah, Deepak.
Yeah, okay.
Can you read one question at a time
Yes,
and I'll
yeah.
try to answer them?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one question we got that is it this basic for all that? I mean, the computational thinking course is basic for all the types of programming language.
Okay. So the answer is in a one word, yes. So in order to maybe let me elaborate a little bit on this. As you know that this is a foundation level, right? So we are trying to build some concepts which are required for some advanced courses in this particular foundational level. And at foundational level, one of the 8 courses is computational thinking. So in order to do any programming, you should first the first step in order to write a program is to understand the problem, come up with the solution, and then only you can translate your solution into some piece of code. Using either Python, Java, or anything, right? So that's the end goal. I mean, writing a code is a very far step. The first initial step is a thought process which goes even before you write even a single line of code. And that's the place where this computational thinking comes into picture, right? So if there is a problem, how to approach a problem, or as Deepak explained earlier, how to split that problem into small sub problems, try to solve those first, and then combine the solution for those sub problems, and then form the final solution. So all this thought process or this thinking which goes behind any programming, right? That is what we are trying to teach in this particular subject called computational thinking. So whatever you study in this subject will be helpful for any programming course or any programming language which you will study in upcoming terms or upcoming levels of this particular BSc degree program.
Okay, yeah, okay. So the next question we have, is this a course to improve our logical thinking?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. It is all about logical thinking. Okay. Typing the code of, in a particular language, it's just last one part of the process. The most important part of the process is that logical thinking. So the come up with the most optimized solution. That's important part, and that is what we will focus on in this particular course.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. So one person, again, I think we have already explained, but again, so is there any requirement for a study computational thinking course?
Is there any requirement as in, can you?
I mean, prerequisite for studying this course, CT
Okay,
course.
okay. So there are no prerequisite. This is the first ever course which you will do in this particular degree program, right? So there is no prerequisite. On top of that, what Deepak mentioned, right? Even though you do not have any computer science background, which is absolutely okay. The way this particular course is designed, that we do not expect you to know even ABCs of programming. Okay, if you know nothing of programming or computer science, it is absolutely fine. We will teach you everything from scratch. That's how the course is designed.
Yeah, Okay. Okay. So one another question is that if we do not clear this subject in last term, what we should do next? So
Okay, so if you are unable to clear this course in last term, you should re-register for this course in the current term, and the registration process starts on 18th of April. So you can reapply for this course, and you will have to do all weeks of assignments and everything from week 1 onwards. If you are unable to even no pass even the quizzes or the graded assignment level. If you failed only the interim exam, then you can appear only for interim exam, and there is a separate form for that. So all these things will open. So the course registrations or these interim specific registrations, all these registrations will open from 18th of this month, and you can register depending on your result and redo the course.
okay. Okay. So one more question is about like when do the system requirements of the PC, I mean computer, need to be met if not for the first semester? Means
Okay,
is worried about
so
the system.
for the computational thinking, we are not. It's not mandatory to have a laptop or a desktop. You can do this course even from mobile phone. But as you can see, this orientation is for CT and Python, right? So, but when the Python course comes into picture, you must have either a desktop or a laptop. Some machine should be there in order to do programming. So for that, we will not mention any specific specifications. Any decent enough computer with a good internet connection is sufficient enough. Okay, we do not. I mean, whatever softwares which we will use or whatever applications we are going to use, we make sure that almost all of them will be online, so that your local system configuration will not stop you from using any of those. We will make them available to you on a browser. Okay, so only requirement is a good internet connection with any decent enough computer is good enough.
Okay, okay, yeah. So one another question is that will this course directly start with the basics of Python?
No, uh, we will not even talk about Python in this particular course. Python, the other course, Introduction to Python or Introduction to Programming in Python, is a separate course. This particular computational thinking course is a prerequisite for that other course, that Python course. So you have to learn various different concepts in order to learn Python. Okay, you cannot directly jump into Python and start doing programming. There are some prerequisites, which there are some some foundational level aspects of some foundational level concept which you should study before you start any programming language, and those concepts we will cover in this particular course called computational thinking. So there is nowhere we will talk about Python.
Okay, so one student is asking about the reference books for computational thinking.
Okay, so as Deepak mentioned in his one of the last slides, that there is one specific book which is written by these same two professors who are going to conduct this particular course, the Professor Madhavan Mukund and Professor G. Venkatesh. So these are the two professors who are going to teach this particular course called computational thinking, and they themselves have written that particular book, and that's the reference book which you can use. But this whatever material what Deepak mentioned, right, the weekly lectures, weekly tutorials, there are activity questions, practice assignment, graded assignments, the live sessions, discourse, all these put together is more than sufficient in order to study computational thinking in general. If you want to learn something on top of that, something up and above whatever we are covering, you can always refer to that particular reference book written by these two same professors.
Yeah.
And the link, I mean, the book is available online on various different platforms. You can purchase it online, and I mean, you'll get a hard copy delivered to your address. Once we start the course on the portal itself, you will get various links from where you can purchase that book. So that's also will be made available as soon as we start the course.
Okay, okay, yeah. So one another student is asking that how to study to get more confident in computational thinking course.
Okay. Okay. So if you remember, there was one slide in the presentation which Deepak made, right? There is something called as learning pattern. That is how students should learn a particular course. And the process, I mean, he already explained. So maybe let me
Yeah,
briefly go through that. So the process is,
yeah,
first you should watch a lecture.
yeah.
So
This one.
every week there will be around 8 to 10 lectures. So first you watch first lecture. Immediately below that lecture, you will see something called as activity questions. So for
Questions.
example, we are talking about, let's say if you're talking about week 1, then the first lecture will be titled as lecture 1.1. So immediately below that, you will see something called as activity question 1.1. So you watch that lecture, try to solve activity question 1.1. If you are able to solve all questions with a comfort, please continue with lecture 1.2. If not, watch that lecture 1.1 again, try to solve those activity questions again. Unless and until you are comfortable with those activity questions, do not start with second lecture. Then you start with lecture 1.2, go to activity question 1.2, and so on. Repeat it till the end of that particular week. Then start with practice assignment, then start with graded assignment. In between, if you are stuck at any point and if you are not able to understand how to proceed further, please post your message on the discussion forum. We will help you there, or join these live sessions which we conduct. Again, we will help you with your doubts, and then you can start your learning process once again from where you left.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So one more question is that how to understand the concept and use to solve the real time problem.
Okay. So the okay, you guys might not have looked at the lectures, but the way these lectures are recorded, right? The professors have taken various different problems from real world, and they have tried to solve them. Right. For example, I mean, let's consider there is a class of let's say class of 50 or 100 students, and we want to find who's the topper in mathematics in that particular class. It's a real-time problem, right? There are some students, and we want to find who's the topper for a particular subject, or maybe who's the topper overall based on the total marks, something like that. Or maybe there are some students, there are some, as I said, some 100 students are there, and let's say I am from X, let's say I'm from Chennai, and I want to find who else is from Chennai, so that maybe we can form some kind of a study group based on the region, and we can study together. So again, somehow I have to find who else is from that same city. Again, it's a real-time problem. So all such various real-time problems are taken as examples in this particular course, and then professors have explained how to approach this problem, how to split that problem into sub problems, and then how to find a solution in order to achieve that end goal. So as I was explaining, the entire course, okay, the 12 weeks of course is completely based on some or the other real-time example, some or the other real-time problem.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So another student is asking that he didn't do well in a computational thinking course and wanted to learn Python. So will it affect to understand the concept will be covered in Python? So I
Okay.
mean, he wanted to repeat the computational thinking course. I mean, what is
Okay.
okay?
Okay. There are two aspects. First, if you want to repeat this particular course, as I said, on 18th, the registration process starts. You can register there for score, for to get better score. Even though you have passed earlier, there is a provision where you can re-register for same course in order to get better grade. That's a possibility. But once again, you'll have to do everything from week 1 till end term exam. It's not like you can give only selected exam. That's not possible. You'll have to do the entire course from scratch till the end once again. That's first. And second, if you have already passed and you're not going to do this course again, and if you're going to move to Python, and if you're not sure about specific concepts, right, then I will suggest do one thing. There are 2 weeks, right? Week 5 and week 6. Week 5 is about list, and week 6 is about dictionaries, right? So you already have access to those lectures, as you have already done that course. Please go through week 5 and 6 again, and that will help you for Python, right? I mean, all other concepts are also required for some of the other course, but these 2 weeks are directly coupled with this particular Python course which you are talking about. Okay, and then maybe few concepts of graphs also will come handy, but focus more on concepts of list and dictionary. Those will have most help will be I mean, those will be most helpful in order to do that next level of course, which is Python course.
Yeah. Okay. So one student is asking that how we can improve our understanding of pseudocodes, means how we can enhance our technique to like understand if any new pseudocode comes, how we can improve.
Okay. So as I already mentioned, as I already talked about the learning pattern. Beyond that, in order to, I mean, specifically, if you're talking about pseudocode, that means you are already aware of this computational thinking course, I assume. So in that case, the best way to, improve your thinking process with pseudocodes, or even reduce the time which you take in order to solve a pseudocode based question is just simple practice. Keep practicing as many pseudocodes as you can. I mean, we will give you sufficient number of questions to practice. Keep practicing on those questions. That's the only way to improve on these aspects. So keep practicing. There is no other way around for this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
even if sometimes you might even require to solve same question multiple times. That's also not a bad idea. Maybe you solve a question today, maybe 4 or 5 days, do not look at that same question again. After a couple of days, look at that same question again and try to solve it. Maybe when you try to solve same question again, so the second time you will be a bit more confident. When you do that same thing for third time, you will be even more confident, and then you will start seeing some common factors in various pseudocodes. Okay, you will try to, when you see a new pseudocode, you will be able to relate that with some of the other pseudocode which you have seen earlier, and that will help you analyze or solve that problem faster and in more effective manner.
yeah. So I want to add one thing, like it will be good that if you make a separate notebook for that computational thinking, and if you are going to the first time for any pseudocode, it will be good that if you are try to write on your notebook. And so once you have the habit of writing notebook, you will have better understanding. So it will be good if you write whenever you're seeing some pseudocodes, try to write some of the key points or the concepts which is used in that particular pseudocode. Try to write it on your notebook, and based on that, proceed further in the pseudocode. So it will help you to bring all the concepts which is used in that particular pseudocode. Okay. So one another question is that, like, how this computational thinking is different from normal programming course. Yeah. Hello.
Okay, yeah, I got the question. I
Yes.
mean, I have already answered it in
Yes.
some
Yes.
way. Maybe let me put it in maybe a slightly different way then.
Yeah.
See, in any programming language is what? Programming language, as the word language comes, there are some rules, just like any other language. Like I'm speaking English, English has some rules, right? There are some grammar rules which has to be followed in order to speak or write using English. Similarly, every programming language also has its own rules. For Python, there are certain rules. For Java, there are certain rules. For C++, there are certain rules. But in this course, we are not focusing on those language specific rules. We are teaching you some underlying concepts which are common across all these languages. Okay. So there are some concepts. I will not go into detail of these concepts because that is something which we will do throughout these 12 weeks. So there are some specific concepts, right? So which Deepak showed in that syllabus slide. So those concepts are common in across all languages. They might be used in slightly different ways in different languages. As I said, there are different rules, So as per their rules and as per the languages design, there might be slight variation. Agree. But the underlying concept remains same. And that is what we are trying to teach here, so that it will be easier for anybody to move from this particular course, computational thinking, to any programming language. Okay, so it's like a it's like a level 0 before you start study any programming language. So after this, you can move to Python, you can move to some other language if you wish. I mean, in the flow of this program, you have to move to Python. But maybe if you're doing some second degree somewhere else, or if you're interested in learning some other language on your own, it will be easier for you to do the transition from computational thinking to that particular language rather than directly starting with it.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, so the computational thinking will form that bridge between nothing to first level of any programming.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Omkar. So one another question is that like how non-mathematics background student can perform well in programming? Is there any extra activity or book or pattern I should follow to improve it?
Uh, okay, so uh, mathematics is important in computer science or in programming, but it's not that important. I mean, if you should not be too worried about that part. Okay. Anyway, whatever mathematics is required, we are going to teach that in terms of mathematics 1 and mathematics 2 subjects. So if you have looked at the all the courses which are there at foundation level, you will see there are two mathematical courses, mathematics 1 and mathematics 2. So whatever mathematics is required for data science or for programming, that mathematics we will cover. So if you have some basic understanding of mathematics, okay, let me put it like this, at maybe like 10th standard mathematics. If you are comfortable with that, then you will do well in this program. You don't have to have any more mathematics knowledge than that. Okay, a basic 10th standard mathematics is sufficient in order to do well in this program.
Yeah. Okay, so one student is asking, I think, how to access this course. So I think for this accessing this course, we we send a mail, invite mail to the respective registered email ID, no? So from
Yeah,
that
so
it will
Deepak,
be,
I think the
yeah.
confusion is because there are two types of different forums which we have,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
If you are a qualified student, if you are a qualifier student, and if you do not have IIT Madras email ID, then you will be allotted to some different forum called as Google Forum, and that will be useful only when you are in first term. Okay, so the first term you will have to use that Google Forum because you do not have IIT Madras email ID. After first term, when you start with your second term, we will give you you will be allotted with a roll number, you will be allotted with a official email ID from IIT Madras, and using that email ID you can use this course. So if you already have that email ID, and if still if you are not able to access this course, then please write to support. And if you are a new student, if you have just started with first term, or if you are about to start with first term, then discourse access will not be there. It will come from next term onwards.
Also, yeah. Okay. So also one student asked about the bonus marks for attending the live session and
Okay,
discourse.
so regarding bonus marks, there is a separate session where we the operational team will talk about the grading policy, the grading pattern. Please join that session, and that's the place. That's the best place to ask any doubt related to bonus marks and the marking scheme. This particular orientation is course specific, so please stick to that.
Yeah. Okay. So now I do not find any like some new questions. I think we have covered almost all the question whatever we got through responses. Uh, yeah. So I think that's all from CT. I mean computational thinking. We do not find any like new questions till now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, Deepak. Maybe let's wait for a couple of more minutes if the new questions comes in, or
Yeah.
else we can start with Python.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Sure. Yeah, so like just summarize for the computational thinking course, like it it will be fun that if you watch the lectures, the computational thinking course, without, because we have all the lectures, that conversation between two professors, and it will obviously like it. And the learning pattern means, so what you have to do, just watch. I'm just repeating again because it's so important. Don't skip any videos. Try to note down the key concepts, whatever you have learned from that particular video, because when once you write with your own handwriting, no, during your revision time, it will take very less time to revise these things. You can revise all the key concept in very quick time, so it will be good that you make a practice of writing things, the key concepts. I am not telling that you should write all the things whatever it is written in the lecture, but you should write most of the concepts which you should be knowing. So the key concept you should be writing. Okay, then yeah.
Yeah, one more point, Deepak.
Mm.
Let me. I want to add to. Which is not mentioned clear. I mean, it was not specifically mentioned in the slide, but in the slide, if you remember, there was something called as extra live sessions or
Yeah.
on-demand sessions, right?
Yes.
So the point is, once you do the registration for computational thinking, just before the start of the course, right? Like by the end of this month or by the first week of next month, we will create one a telegram channel, and where you all will be invited to join that telegram channel, and that's the place where we'll be announcing regarding these extra live sessions which we will conduct. Okay, so apart from the standard live sessions, there we will be doing some extra live sessions in order to help those students who are struggling maybe a little bit, I mean, who are struggling bit more than others. Okay, so I mean, I'm sure there are many who have concerns, right? Like, you know, I'm not from computer science background, I'm not from engineering background, and so on. So or somebody asked that I do not have enough mathematical background, and so on. Then what to do? So in that case, this extra sessions, right? As you can see on that right side box, the second line, it says extra session or on-demand sessions. So these particular sessions will help you immensely, in order to bridge that gap. And we will keep we will keep arranging these sessions for you, and one of us will be available over there for the 2 hours or so, to help you out with whatever doubts you have, no matter how basic they are. And all those sessions details will be announced or will be shared using that telegram group. So you will get a formal announcement from our side about that group, and please try to join that. And that's the only official group we have. Beyond that, we do not have any other official group on telegram or whatsapp or anything. So please uh, restrain yourself from joining those fake groups. There will be only one official group from our side, and formally you will get announcement regarding that. Yeah, that's it from my side, Deepak. I think if there are no new
Yes.
questions, yeah, let's stop sharing and let's hand it over to
Yes, yes, yes.
Python.
Also, just one make want to clear that one thing. So for the details of regular live session, which will happen on Zoom, that will be synced to your calendar. So that support team will send you message, a mail. So that in that, if you click on the link, your calendar will be synced. So the details of live session you will be going to get through the calendar, whereas the extra live session you will get through the Telegram link. Okay. Sure. Yeah, so I'm just stopping this sharing, and yeah, now I think Python, I mean Karthik.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, Deep. So yeah, so Deepak, am I audible?
Yes, Karthik, yes.
Okay, thanks. All right. So welcome to this Python orientation session. So what we'll do here is quickly go through these slides. So there are like two aspects to this Python course. One is the programming part, and the other one is Python, which is the programming language. So the philosophy we'll be following is very similar to CT. So we will focus more on programming, the logical aspects, the logical foundations of programming as a skill. That is what we'll be focusing on. And Python will be one of the tools, or one of the ways we'll develop this skill, programming as a skill. Right. So this doesn't mean that we won't be learning important features of the Python programming language, but a lot more emphasis will be given to what this whole idea of programming is. Right. So this will more or less take over from CT and convert all the logical thinking that you have developed in the CT course into Python code. So that is one of the key goals of our course, to develop the programming as a skill, right? Using Python as a language. So there are two questions. The moment we say that programming and Python are two aspects, two questions come up. Why should we learn programming, and why should we learn programming in Python? Right? Why not some other language? So if we take up the first part, why programming? So this has somewhat become obvious by now. Programming has become an extremely important skill to have, no matter which company you are a part of, or so which job you are planning to get into, which industry you are planning to get into, or even if you are already working in some place. So programming is a very good companion skill to have, right? So that is how important it is. So I don't think we need to sell this idea of programming or its importance anymore. So I'll move to why Python, the second question. Some of you might be knowing this company called Stack Overflow. It's a very popular website which is frequented even by programmers. And all of us typically go there if we have some doubt about Python or any programming concept. So the Stack Overflow conducts a survey annually in which a lot of developers participate. So these developers develop with various languages: Java, Python, as you can see, Rust, Go. So many of these languages I don't know, right, what they actually mean. So these developers participate in the survey, and the screenshot that you are seeing in front of you is one outcome of the survey. And it says that what it says in short is that Python is the third most loved language. So this means that about, say, 66% of the developers who are currently working in Python, they have wished to continue developing in Python, which means they want to continue working in Python even in the future. So, and third most loved language, that is what it means. So this shows that Python is quite popular and still relevant. Another learning from the survey is that Python has come out as the most wanted language. So most wanted means, according to Stack Overflow, what they mean is that there about 30% of the developers who took the survey are currently not working in this language. So it is possible that they are working in JavaScript, or they are working with some other language, say C or C++, but they want to develop with Python, right? So this means that Python is still popular and relevant, and so that is one important reason why we are learning to program in Python. But the second reason, and which is more important for our course, is that Python is a very easy language to get introduced to the whole idea of programming, right? So compared to few other languages, Python is very easy to pick up for someone who has not seen or written code before, right? So this is a good introductory language to learn. And the moment you learn one language very well, you can start picking up other languages with less difficulty, right? So Python is there, and it occupies the sweet spot where it's a good language to learn first. The plan for the course is as follows. I won't be going into the details because these concepts may not make sense to you at this stage. But in case you have been introduced to, say, some aspects of programming, or if you have done the CT course, I hope some of you here have already done the CT course. So the first week will be about strings. Second week will be about conditionals. So This is basic if else, if else if constructs, and which you have probably studied as filters in CT. So week 3 will talk about loops, all important concept of loops, for loop and while loop. Week 4 will discuss the ideas of lists and matrices. Again, as you recall, Omkar mentioned weeks 5 and 6 of CT are very important, and they'll have a direct relationship with weeks 4 and 6 of Python, right? So please pay extra attention in case you have not yet taken CT. Yeah, as Omkar mentioned, I think you must pay extra attention to those weeks because they will again be the most crucial weeks in the Python course. So that is week 6. Week 5 will be functions or procedures in CT. So week 7 will be a refresher week where you'll get some breathing time to review what you have learned for the first 6 weeks. So the first 6 weeks is essentially the core of Python, which we expect you to know. And it's very important that you know all the concepts covered in these 6 weeks. 8 to 11 will be slightly advanced concepts in programming and in Python. So week 8 will be about recursion, which again you would have learned in CT, but we just take it up and see how recursion is implemented in Python. 9 will be about file handling, and 10 and 11 are few advanced concepts which you will be learning. So week 12 we'll end it with revision week. So one thing which is important to note is that every week is important. You cannot skip any particular week. You can't selectively learn, say, week 3. And so, for example, the first quiz will happen after the first 4 weeks. And this may work for other courses, but for Python, you cannot, or even for Python and CT, I would say, you cannot say that I will skip week 3. Weeks 1, 2, and 4, I will learn properly. I will later learn week 3. So this particular strategy of selectively ignoring a week will not work. So every week is important in both these courses. So the content is laid out as follows. We have lectures, theory assessments, and programming assessments. Theory assessments are fairly similar to the other courses that you might have seen. But programming assessment will be something new in the Python course. So we will have like 3 different types of programming assessments. So the basic format will be same. You'll be given a problem and you'll have to write code for it. So they come in 3 flavors. First is a practice programming assignment or PPA. The second one is the graded version of the same. And the third one is something called practice tests, which are problems for extra practice. So just like in CT, the learning strategy is fairly similar. You have to be an active learner. There's no escaping that. So what we mean by active learner is as follows. It varies from component to component. So when it comes to lectures, this is an advice given by the professor, and which we strongly encourage that you all follow. This is the suggestion. So whenever you're watching a lecture, divide your window into 2 parts. On the left hand side, open the lecture, have the lecture screen, and keep running the video. On the right hand side, you must have what is called a code editor, where you type code and run it. So every time you reach an important stage in the video, pause the lecture. So pause the lecture and then go to the right hand side and just type the code that you have just learned. Okay? So this is a very important step. The only way you can learn programming is by coding, right? And it should start right from watching lectures. So you will see that Professor Sudarshan and Omkar will be covering a lot of concepts, and you must make it a point to type the code then and there. Okay, so summarize the strategy. It's this: watch the lecture code on the editor and repeat. So just keep looping through this whole process, and that will be a very good start. When it comes to assignments, as I mentioned, there are 2 components, right? One is the programming part and the other one is the theory part. Always do the programming first and theory can come later. So our hope is that once you have done the CT course and entered Python, you must all be fairly confident in reading code or processing code, right? So that shouldn't be too much of a struggle for you, but programming is probably the tougher part. So program first, write code first and then move on to the theory assignments. And for the theory assignments, please try to avoid using the Python console. It will become clear to you when you actually start doing the assignments. As far as assignments, the programming assignments are concerned, always start with the practice assignment as Deepak mentioned, and then go to the graded assignment, and then go to the practice tests. And make it a point to start from the first problem in every category and keep going down. So start with the simplest ones and then go to the more advanced problems. That's how we have tried to arrange the problems in increasing order of difficulty. So the idea is top to bottom, left to right. So simple to more complex problems, and the practice assignment to graded assignment. So that is the logic. The editor that we'll be using is called a Replit. So Replit is not just a code editor, but it's something more than that. It's a place where you can type your code and execute it. So the screenshot that you see in front of you is one line of code on the left hand side, and if you click one run button, you just have to click one button which says run, and then the code will be executed and the output will come on your right. So this is probably the simplest editor to get started, and I will be following this or using this editor more or less through the entire duration of the course. As far as live sessions are concerned, we have 3 live sessions. So one is, 2 of them will be called live coding sessions. So the format of these live coding sessions will be, say, 1 or 2 instructors will join, and what we'll do is we'll take up a problem one at a time and we'll code from scratch. So the idea is to have a blank screen in front of us and then write one line of code at a time incrementally. So the person who writes the code could be the instructor, or it could be the student. So this will add some kind of interaction to this will bring some kind of interaction to the sessions, right? So when you actually take up the course, be ready to code live during these sessions, and we encourage all of you to join these sessions. The other one is Discourse. Discourse is a place where you can come and get your doubts cleared. So the only thing is that live sessions, you can get your doubts cleared then and there, but in Discourse, you might have to wait for a couple of hours to get a response from instructors. But I think every day we all come to Discord and see what questions have been asked, and you will get a fairly prompt response from either the instructors or the peers. So this is a quick sneak peek into week 5 of the course. So this is one function that you'll be able to write. I think all of you will be able to write at the end of week 5 of the course. So I hope we all quickly get to that stage. So exams, roughly speaking, I mean, this is the plan. So we'll have 2 theory exams and we'll have 2 programming exams. So don't worry too much about the exams now. I think once you join the course and once you start, all this will become clear. Right. So thank you. That was the orientation video, so to speak. So now so before we move to the questions, Omkar, would you like to take up the CodeChef? No?
Yeah, sure, Karthik. So we'll talk about one more aspect which is not part of the course, but which is somehow goes in parallel with the course. Something called as a CodeChef competitions. So many of you might know that there is one platform, a website called CodeChef. It's popular for its competitive coding competitions. So we are starting with first ever programming language as a Python. We also want to give you exposure to various different competitions, the contests which happen online on various platforms. So the platform through which we will introduce you to all those is called CodeChef. And the idea is every week we will have one contest specifically designed for you guys. So whatever concepts which we are going to cover in that week, based on those concepts, there will be some set of problems which will be given to you as a contest. Okay, and we will start these contexts. May not be, we won't start it from week one, because we also want to give you some time to adjust to the content, because it's the first time you are looking at the any programming and so on. We will start it from either from week 2 or 3 onwards. Once you are settled in the course, we will start these contests, and they will go till week 10, week 11, right? Till almost like 10, 11, or even 12. So throughout these 12 weeks, we will have these competitions happening online. The point to note over here is these competitions are not mandatory. Okay, so it's completely optional. If you wish to participate in those contests, you can. If you're not, if you do not have time, or for some reason if you don't want to participate in this contest, it's up to you. Whatever scores you get in those contests will not contribute towards your CGPA towards this particular Python course. Okay, so marks what you get there will not have any impact over here. That's why those contests are optional. So what's the benefit of doing it? You get more practice. You get to work on uh, some concepts or some kind of problems which usually people come across in these competitive programming contests. That's first. So it's about your own upskilling. And second is the top 10 scorers, top 10% scorers of these CodeChef contests, right? These students, this top 10% students will get extra certificate from IIT Madras saying that these guys, these students participated in the contest and this is the rank they got and so on. So these certificates will be based on the a collective evaluation at the end of the term, based on based on how whatever number of contests we run, 10, 12, 15, whatever. So based on the result of all these contests, the rankings will be announced, and based on that, the top 10% students will get extra certificate from IIT Madras. So that's the some extra activity which we will do along with this particular Python course. Yeah, thanks Karthik. That's it from my side regarding CodeChef. I think now we can start with the questions.
Okay, yeah. So we have Ram also with us. So Ram, Omkar, and I will mainly be the instructor. So we have some questions. I can start. Yeah. So this is probably might be a recurring question. So how much time do you expect students to spend practicing coding?
So yeah, before I start, like I want to say this. Just good evening, everyone. Okay. So the time which you need to spend in Python, right? So each week that varies from person to person. We cannot say that we cannot say a specific time. Okay, but the time that you need to spending, right? You'll get on like once you start on like once you go on like week 1, week 2, right? Then you'll understand how much time you need to be spending. Apart from watching lectures, you need to spend time on coding the practice programming problems and the graded programming as well as the practice problems. So that will be taking some considerable amount of time, especially if you are the beginner. So apart from lectures, we expect you to put on some 10 hours per week, 10 hours per week, especially if you're the beginner. But then if you already know programming and then if you're already well aware of Python, right? So then the time which you need to put in apart from watching lectures, that will come down to even like 2 hours or 1 hour 2. So the time you need to spending that varies from person to person. Okay, if you're the beginner, you need to put on like more amount of time, especially in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. So next question is so this is a there are like I think multiple questions which are based on the same theme. Is what all courses can I take with Python? So is taking Max 2, Stats 2 and Python good? Is Max 2 Python good? Stats 2 Python. So it's about the combination of subjects that one should take.
So for this two, there's no one specific combination. But then I have like one suggestion. You could take like any combination, but if you're not good in maths as well as if you're new to programming, right? Do not take three courses at a time. That is, do not take maths two, stats two, and Python all at a time. It's better to take two courses. It could be Python with maths two, or it could be Python with stats two, because maths two and stats two, they also require sufficient amount of time that needs to be put in each week. So if you combine that, right, so two courses will be taking much of your time. So it's better to take one of the course. It can be either maths two or stats two. Any one of it is okay. If you're, let's say, if you're comfortable with maths two, maths contents already, that is the linear algebra and others, then you can take the maths two with Python. Okay, because most of you guys might not be doing this stats two contents. If you're not aware of it, then it's better to go with maths 2 and Python. Okay, but do not take three courses. I wouldn't suggest it until like you are like very well good enough in both maths as well as coding. Yeah.
Thanks, ma'am. So next question is, will there be any group projects or any projects at all?
So there are no specific group projects. Okay, in this Python course, because this is just a beginner course where you'll be learning about the basic concepts of Python. Okay, so using this, you can try out a project, but that won't be too big of a one, right? So all you like this Python course, it will be helping you in solving small problems. Okay, small like medium to advanced too. Okay, but then it won't be helping you in detail to do some projects. Okay, so yeah, there won't be any group projects in this Python course.
Right. So the next question is, I am not. So someone is asking that I'm not from a CS background. So how to solve the problems?
So everyone, right? Like there are like lots of people, even us, we started coding at some point of time, right? So there's always a beginning. You need not worry about it. Since you start with Python, so learning coding with Python is a very good thing, because the language itself is easy to start for beginners. So if you're new to programming, all you need to do is you need to watch lectures and then like code parallelly that code, and then you need to put in more extra hours. Okay, even if you're good with maths and the logic part, then you can like get this Python very easily. Okay, or else if you're finding it difficulty at any point of time, we'll always be there in the Discord, and you can join the live sessions. There will be helping you. It's going to be easier. And if you're not taking more than three courses, right? Like if you're not taking three courses, then it won't be hard for you to complete this course easily.
Yeah. So the next question is, are we going to learn data structures and various algorithms in this course?
So this part we will not be learning like directly. Okay, so we won't be going through that aspects of the Python. So the data structures and algorithms, that will be coming up in the next course. So you have a specific course for that. It's called PDSA. Okay, that will come in the diploma level.
Yeah. So the next question is, I'm checking. So there are many features. One of the questions is, there are many features in Python like libraries, functions, and so on. But I understand that can learn them gradually, but given 3 months of time for this course, how are we supposed to learn? So can you please suggest some ways or methods to learn?
So yes, we do have so many libraries in Python, so which are like you would say like they're like vast enough like ocean. So we cannot learn all the libraries. Okay, and especially in this Python course, our goal is not to go to those libraries. All we do is we just write a simple code, okay, without using libraries. But then at the end of the course, we just look at like few libraries which are like very important, like pandas, numpy, and matplotlib. Even that too we will not be using those libraries to solve for problems. So all we look at is we just look at the basic concepts of the libraries and then like few examples of the libraries. So we do not go deep diving into those libraries. So this is just a beginner level course, beginner to intermediate. So which will not use libraries to solve the problems. Yeah.
Right. So the next question is where to practice Python to get good grades in the subject. So basically, question is how do I practice more?
Yeah, this is a good question. So for you to practice, we do have the like good amount of problems. Like we have at least 20 programming problems each week. So that will be the starting point. Okay. So you could after watching the lectures and then like understand the basic concepts of it, you could try solving the practice programming as well as the graded programming problems. And if once you're done with this, you can go to practice of problems. So once you're done with all three of this, then you could look out for other websites too. If you still feel that you're not confident with the concepts that was discussed in the week, then you could go to this external websites, right? We have this CodeChef, CodeChef, HackerRank, and then like Hacker, and so many other websites. We have this tons of problems in the online. So you could just go to those websites and then like find the relevant problems that corresponds to this week's, and then like you can try solving more on that. But I would say especially in the first 3 weeks, you will not be getting the relevant problems, because those are just the basic enough, such that those concepts will not be covered in any of these weeks. But then if you're confident after solving the practice programming and the graded programming problems, that will be good enough. Okay, solve for the problems that are there in our portal, and after that if you still want more problems, there are like tons of problems available online for you to solve more and then like get confident about programming. The important aspect is that what we should be understanding is not solving for more problems, but then like look at the way you are lagging on the approach you are taking to solving the problem, right? So all that it takes is you could solve like 100 problems, but then like about a concept and still not be confident. If you're still not having that problem solving capability, right? So you should just look at what was given and what needs to be like what was asked for, and you should be trying to bridge the gap between these two. So that's all the problem solving we have. So just like you have this problem solving in maths, it's the same thing in Python. The only thing is, instead of doing it by hand in the math thread, you just write a piece of code to do that. So it's the same thing. Like just like in maths, we just need to develop this problem solving capability, not that solving more problems. But then solving more and more problems gets us to that problem solving capability. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next, I think last few questions. After clearing CT in term one, what can we expect from Python? I think this kind of be answered, but more important question is what we learn from CT be carried forward in term two in Python? The main question.
Yeah. So what you learn in CT, that is like that'll be directly transformed to Python, because whatever concepts you are learned, right? You didn't actually run it as like specific programming language, right? You have just written the pseudocode and understood the pseudocode there. But here you'll be actually running the code in a programming language, and then the pseudocode which you have written there, it's going to be almost similar to the code which you're going to write in this Python, right? All the things which changes is that there is going to be this specific syntax in Python which needs to be followed, and apart from that, it's going to be more or less the same. Okay, so the CD is like the Python is just the next step of CD. So it's going to be completely relevant. These two courses. Karthik, you can add on to this since you have done both CD as well as Python.
Yeah, so I think there'll be a lot of overlap. So I mean, not even, so I don't think you should call it overlap. It will be more of concrete version of this pseudocode, right? So pseudocode is something that you can't execute, but the translation of this into Python, the moment you do that translation, you can actually execute it and see what happens. So even in the level of syntax, right? So whatever for loop syntax, for each syntax that you have learned in CT, the while loop syntax that you have learned in CT, and the idea of procedures, lists, dictionaries, all of them very neatly translate into Python. So one suggestion from our side for those who have done CT is please keep referring back to the CT content, and as much as possible try to make these comparisons and links that might be of great help. Right. So yeah, the next thing, I think that's all we have. How to access Discord, I think is what I already mentioned. So can we register for intro to Python and CT in the same term? I don't know from whom this particular query is coming, because for I think diploma entry, direct entry to diploma students, they have to, some of them have to do Python and CT together. For foundational students, I think those who are coming through the qualifier process, you have to do CT before Python. So CT is a prerequisite for Python. So yeah, I think that is all we have. So Omkar and Ram, if you have any final thoughts, you can. Otherwise, we can close, I think.
Yeah, so I was hearing all the questions and answers. So one thing is, do not think too much about that. This part that I do not have computer science background. Okay, do not think about that at all. The way course is designed, that we have taken this into consideration that many of our students will not have computer science or a programming background. And keeping that in mind, all the lectures and the content is designed. So if you follow the learning pattern, what Karthik mentioned through his slides, solving all those programming assignments in a particular order, will help you understand all these concepts very well. And as assuming that you have already done computational thinking, it will even help you further understanding all these concepts. So do not be in that kind of thinking should not be there, that I do not have computer science background, how should I do, what should I do. Don't think about that. That is something we have already thought of, and that is how the entire program or the entire course is designed. Okay, so just go through the content and try to solve all the questions whatever are available in the particular in the specific order what we mentioned earlier, and you will be confident enough with the language at the end of week 1. And on top of that, anywhere if you struggle, we are always there to help you. So join the live sessions, ask your doubts on the discourse, and we will the team of instructors will be more than happy to help you with whatever doubts you have and whatever struggle you are going through. So that's the only thing from myself. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Omkar. So Ram, anything you have?
Yeah. So the only thing is that, yeah, I mean, we'll always be there throughout the course. So at any point of time, if you're stuck, reach out to us through the discourse as well as live sessions. Okay. And then yeah, that's it. All the best. Yes. Yeah. We will see you in 3 weeks.
Okay, thank you everyone.